the cloud. Mary is here. Aiden is here. Jez. All right. Siobhan. Wait. Is Bonbon Siobhan? Who is Bonbon?
Oh, I don't know why it came up as that. I'm going to change my name right now. It's Siobhan.
Okay. Okay. All right. Noah.
Yep, I'm here.
Thank you. Lena, I saw. Joseph, I saw. And also Joseph, I saw. So all of the Josephs are here. Katie is here. Lydia is here. Vincent is here. Brandon. Let's see. Katie is here, right? Oh, yeah. And Caden is now here. I'll mark him as present. Brandon. No Brandon yet, but let's give him time. Is Chris here? Chris, not yet. Okay, Sam, I think I saw. Yep, hi Sam.
Yes, sir. Just got here. How's it going?
Yep, and Josh is here, and Ethan is here. I think is Ethan here? Ethan? No, I'm mistaken about Ethan. Okay, so here are the people I have ticked off as. Well, I don't know who's really ticked off, but the people I have marked not here is Anthony. Are you here? Jez, Brandon, Christopher, and Ethan. Okay, Ethan is now here. All right. There we go. Ethan, you're marked present. And Brandon is now here. Okay. All right, once more, I'll check. Anthony, Jez, Chris. Okay, we're moving on. So I've assigned a new project, which I think is going to be a fun one. I've got loads of projects with CSV, but I wanted to do something fun. For the remainder of the term, we might be doing one or more projects using CSV. So this one uses CSV, and it's fairly straightforward, fairly benign. Let me show you, let me share a screen and show you what it's about. Okay, so here we have a console, and here's what's in this folder. So let's take a look at the data. Data 0, you don't have this file. So it's still, the picture you're going to draw is still a secret. Okay, so look at the data. The data, the first line has just 2 values, and that is going to be the number of lines, 96 lines in the picture, this picture, and 79 columns. Then it's just a jumble of CSV lines of line 8, which is really not line 9 because we counted 0. Column 7 gets a space. Line, remember we're counting at 0, so the 27th line, 57th column gets a 7. So that's what the data looks like. And you can see from here that this file is larger. It's a little more than twice the size of yours, but still the ones that I gave you are also just a jumbled mess of numbers and letters. So what does the finished program do? Well, I will show you. So Python 3, for me, reader, that's the name of that I gave my program. And if I hit enter, it says you have to enter a data file. Okay, so I'm going to use data 0. And you ready? Here it goes. Okay, so it's taken that jumble of data and parsed it, and it's put the right character in the right place on every line to draw a picture. Okay, this is called Ascii Art, and it is a time-honored tradition. Your two data files will draw different pictures. Does anybody have any questions about the project? Anybody? So if it's due tomorrow, you won't care because everybody understands?
Maybe not tomorrow.
Yeah, maybe not tomorrow? Okay.
Yeah, probably.
It is due in a fairly long time from now. It was assigned on Friday, I believe, so it's due not this coming Friday, but I believe the next Friday.
Yeah, I think you have it set for the 22nd.
Yeah. Okay, so I don't, given that amount of time, I'm thinking maybe no extensions on it.
Are we at any point before then going to get more hints on how to do the setup for this in class?
Yes, let's take a look at the document that goes along with this. Let me set that up and then I'll share the screen. I do give an outline of one solution. You don't have to mimic the outline if you have your own idea of how to do it, okay? It's not a requirement that you use this outline. Let's show. What am I showing you now? Anybody have any idea? It is
You're showing
Safari.
you're
Okay,
showing the
there we go.
page.
There we go. Okay. The input, it explains what the input is, that the first line has only two numbers, and that is the height. The second number is the width. All of the remaining lines are line number first, then column number second, and then what to put there. Okay, and I surrounded the what to put there in double quotes just so that you can see the spaces. There are a lot of spaces. And the CSV reader, which you're using, import of CSV, will make those double quotes go away. Okay, so the outline is open the file. Well, first of all, the outline gives you this code and also this code. And you're responsible for this code. So open the file, wrap the file with a CSV reader, get only the next line, only the first line using next. And we can definitely give examples of that. So decode the number of lines and columns, because one way of doing the solution, one way of solving this is by pre-allocating a two-dimensional array of characters that is has the correct number of lines and the correct number of columns, and then finding each data input, each line from the input tells you which line, which column to put what character into. So That is the approach this outline suggests. And it gives, you could do this many, many ways, but this is a real Pythonic, fancy Delancey way of creating that two-dimensional array. So I do have some explanatory text here. This line is really broken up into two parts. So here, this inner part is creating a list of spaces. That is the right number of columns. That's why it's dimensions number 1. Right? And then it's duplicating that for the right number of lines. That's dimensions 0. So this is something called list comprehension. I don't know why it's called comprehension, but it certainly deals with lists. I mean, here's 2 of them. And list comprehension is in your Xi book. Now, list comprehension is very handy for making collapsing loops down to single statements. So ordinarily, this would be one for loop with some appends, and then another for loop with some appends. But the list comprehension syntax allows me to do it in one statement. I also give the links to the files. So you might right-click and download the linked file and put it where your Python code is. Download the linked file and put it where the Python code is. Okay, coming back to the outline. So after you've created the empty board, you'll have a for loop, which uses the reader to get each line that comes after. Remember that the line is coming in as text, but you want to deal with it as numbers. So that's why I say decode the line. The line, decode the line of input into line number, column number, and then the letter. So that allows you to put the letter into the right place, into the board that you created here. Once you've read the entire file, for each line in the board, for each letter in every line, print the letter without a new line. Finally, when you get to the end of a line in the board, print a new line and start the process over again. Okay, so coming back here, oops. So this board had spaces for all of these characters. And then it would read something like, let's find an early line number. Line 2, which would be line 3 because we counted 0. Line 3, column 12 is a space. So here's 0, 1, 2. So line 3, and then somewhere in here is column 11, or the 12th one because we counted 0. And you notice it's space. So in the bingo, you had a two-dimensional array. Here's another approach to creating a two-dimensional array. Okay, so do you have questions about this project?
Not at the moment, I don't think.
Okay, can you say that again?
Not at the moment.
Okay. Anybody else?
For what we're given, like I saw you had links, but I didn't open them yet. Are we given all of the quoted lines above? And like,
Yeah.
that's what we have to use through our
Right.
code?
Here is the first screen full of data 1. And it will be 57 lines and 66 columns. And here's the first screen full of data 2. It will be 53 lines and 72 columns. Does that
Okay, so
answer
we're
your question,
making,
Noah?
yeah, so we're making a code that reads all of those lines of code into our program.
Yeah, well, this is lines of data. And
Yeah.
you're going to read the data and use the data to assemble a picture, then print the picture out.
Okay.
So any questions? If you'd like to see some more ASCII art, let me show you where I got my data from. Let's see, is this it? Yeah, all right, so let me share this. I searched for classic ASCII art, and the ASCII Art Archive comes up. So let's take a look at computers. Ooh, the Amiga computer. So there's an Amiga 500, there's an Amiga 1000 keyboard, there's a 500 plus, and different. Okay, I have no idea what that is. Let's go to, how about people? Oh, there's only 317 of those. How about famous? Al Pacino. That almost looks like, that doesn't look like Al Pacino. How about Napoleon? Let's see. So that's very simple. They're all very simple. Okay, how about George Washington? So there's very simple and more sophisticated. Now, the thing with ASCII art is zoom out. So the more you zoom out, further away you get, the better it looks. So, you know, when I started in computer graphics, this is actually where I started. Princess Diana. These are not very good. Let's find just one more. How about cartoons? Felix the cat. There's Felix the cat. Felix the cat was like 1920s. Pink Panther. Oh, this is fun. I could do this all day. Okay. Anybody have any questions? No questions?
Not at the moment.
They even have Mickey Mouse? Wow,
Yeah.
that's cool.
Let's see. So one of my prized
Although he's a
possessions.
very famous figure, so I don't know why I should be surprised, because he's very, like, one of the most famous like cartoon characters in history, if I'm
Yeah.
right. Mhm.
Yes, you are right. television. There's got to be a lot from Star Trek. In 1977, I went to a conference held in Manhattan, and I got a printout of the Enterprise, and it was my greatest, most prized possession. I was young. Okay. All right. Then somebody took it. Somebody stole it from me, and I know who. And I haven't forgiven them, even though it was almost 50 years ago. But I did get even. Does anybody want to ask?
Yeah, how, what happened?
I was in charge of putting people into the computer system that put people into classes, which was only semi-automatic. There was a lot of manual input. So darn, wouldn't you know if this person wound up on the wrestling team? They were not built for wrestling.
Oh, wow.
And I overheard the guidance counselor say, well, I'm sorry, the computer put you in wrestling. Oh, well, okay. Yeah, I did get even. All right, anybody have, oh crap, this is being recorded. All right, I knew it was being recorded. Does anybody have any questions? Any questions at all? Besides, don't screw me, because you'll end up in wrestling. Yep.
Could we go over some examples of using the next function?
Sure, okay, I would love to do that. How about I start up Visual Studio Code, and let me close what I have open, and I will open up some other place. How about here? Okay, I'm ready to share. Let me go ahead and share, because you know it's nice to share. Okay, so let's start a new program. Let's start out first with a review of reading a text file. So let's get in the main pass. We'll actually do it the right way. We'll say, no, but this is just example code. It'll be easier if I just hard code the file name. So if dunder name dunder equals double quote or single quote dunder main dunder. Dunder once again stands for double underscore. Okay, and let's give it a name. Let's call it reading.py. Okay, and I will file equals open, and I'm going to give it the name of a file that I know exists. So I'll give it the name of this file, because I know this file exists, and I can get rid of the pass now. Reading reading one line from the file using next. A line equals next from the file. And now we can print a line. And that's all the program's going to do. Python 3 reading. And it printed a blank line. Okay, so I'm going to eliminate this blank line so we can see something. There. Now you'll notice that there's a blank line here. Everybody can see the bottom of my window? Should I make it bigger?
Nope, you're good.
Okay. So notice there's a blank line here. That's because print by itself gives you a new line, but next, a new line was also included in the text that was read. So perhaps I want to ensure that I eliminate the new line that is included with the input. So let's see what happens there. Aha, now I have just the one line. Okay, so next is really handy because it works with files, it works with CSV. In fact, it works with anything that you can iterate over. Okay, now let's make this a CSV instead, and I'll show you it's exactly the same. So to use CSV, I have to import CSV. Then here's how it changes. I take the file. Okay, you gotta get down. You gotta get down. Down means down. Okay. She's so disappointed. She just looked at me like this. Okay. All right. So we got to turn that file into a reader, which I'm going to call this. And the reason why I just wanted to make sure that you got the difference between CSV dot reader and a variable named CSV reader. Okay, two completely different animals. So now I'm going to replace the file with the next. And I'm going to run this and it's going to fail spectacularly. Okay. And we'll find out, then we'll explore why it fails. Boom. A list object has no attribute rstrip. So last time, a_line was a string of text. But now that we're using CSV reader, it's no longer a string of text. In fact, it is now a list. So let's do that. And it's a list which has only one member. Notice there are no commas here. Actually, there are no commas anywhere. So I'm going to change the file that I'm reading. And I have a file here called data.csv. So I'll read that. What happened to my, I'll make it data.csv so I have some CSV data to work with. Okay, so there's the first line, which is the headings in this case. First name, comma, last name, comma, DOB. And it's a list with 3 fields. Now, I could read the entire file this way. I could say 4 lines. Well, this is the way I'm suggesting you read it, just like this. This is quite straightforward. There, that will read the entire file. Okay, putting it into CSV format. But we could skip past the headings if we want by saying throw away the results. Okay, now notice this output, the program formally produced 3 lines of output. the first line was the headings. I'll run it again with this modification. The headings are going to swallow. The headings are going to be swallowed. And now we only have 2 lines. Okay. I'm going
Does
to add
the-
a, go ahead.
Sorry, does the underscore that is being assigned, does that represent the headings?
Yeah, that that is a way of saying I am intentionally ignoring the return value of next. I'm ignoring the return value and I'm doing it on purpose. Okay. Now, it's not strictly necessary. So this will still work. But you or someone else reading the code will say, they'll wonder, did I mean to ignore the return value? Putting this in here removes all doubt that you intentionally are ignoring the return value. Does that work for you?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. All right, now in this data file, I want to add some numbers because just some straight numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Okay, let's see what the output is. Now, the thing I want to emphasize here, look, these are numbers, but they're showing up with quotes around them. So they're being read as strings. So in the project you have, you're going to be reading numbers for line and column. And then you want to interpret them as numbers, but remember, to interpret them as numbers, you yourself have to convert them. So for instance, let's run this program again. I skipped the first line. That's why 1, 2, 3 is not there. But in order to print them as numbers or use them as numbers, you have to convert them. Okay, so how do you convert text into its corresponding number? Using int. And you know what, instead of plus, I'll use comma. And why is it taking so long? Don't know why it took so long, but notice they're numbers. They truly are numbers now, not letters that contain digits. Okay, so we went here because there was a question about reviewing next. Is the person who asked for that satisfied?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. How about your next question? Nobody? Okay, so let me stop sharing this and let's take a peek at what else I have here. That's not a good example. How about this one? This is a good example. Oops. Okay, gold. All right, so let me share this. Let's take a look at what we've got here. Share the terminal. Okay, so here's some sample data. Here is the price of gold per ounce every month, every December since 1950. And it's going to go until 2019 when I created this data. So here's an example of where you might legitimately run across CSV. It could be something as simple as 2 columns. In this case, date and dollar amount. So, or there could be as complicated as oh, I don't actually have it here. Darn. I thought I did. I thought I had all the COVID numbers in a very, very, very big file. Oh, well, I guess I don't. So how about this? Oh, this is also similar. It's just 2 columns. I just wanted to find something that would be a huge. So apparently I don't have an example here with huge data. But do we have any data science students here?
Yep.
Okay, there's really cool websites. Let me find one before I share. Really cool website of large open source CSV files. No, how to, okay. I'm just looking for my favorite source of data. Okay, how about open source data sets? Kaggle, that's the one I'm looking for. So let me show you this. If you are ever looking for data with which to do data science, the site called Kaggle, Kaggle.com. I think it's .com, but Zoom is covering it. Yes, it is .com. This is just an extraordinary site where you will find data sets for just about anything. So let's see, fruit. Okay, there's data sets on fruit, not only for data science, but also for machine learning. How about cell phones? Let's take a look at this one, Amazon cell phone reviews. Let's take a look at the data. So here is a huge number of reviews taken from Amazon, 25 megabytes worth of Amazon phone reviews. So all of this is delivered to you in CSV format. How about, all right, so any chemistry majors here? All right, let's take a look. Let's just search on chemistry. Data sets. Okay, so how about chemistry models? I don't know what that is. The data. Okay, so to a chemist, somehow this makes sense. Scalar coupling something or other. Don't ask me. The only thing I know about chemistry is my wife's a great cook. And that's the only thing that matters to me. All right. What's another major that we have represented here?
Geoscience.
Okay, there's going to be a lot of those. Geospatial. How's that?
That's close enough.
Data sets, 403. Environmental and socioeconomic data, 2 gigabytes worth. So the data items that are in each file are cities and towns, points and polygons, so that you can draw the outlines, roads and railroads, airports and ports, power plants. Boy, there's a lot of stuff here. And the most important is the distribution of cattle in 2010 around the globe. So let's, whoops, that's a TIFF file. And it sent me all the way back. And, oh, these are not necessarily in CSV though, sorry. Okay, so Kaggle.com is a great place to get data from. Is anyone here work with a laboratory instrument that produces CSV? So can you export data from a lab instrument? Anybody? Okay, nobody's saying anything, but Katie was shaking her head. Okay. Well, anyway, this discussion it's going to be useful to you, perhaps, to get a large data set from somewhere. Kaggle is a great place to do that. It's not the only one. The United States government is a fantastic resource for data. Data on who knows what. Our government keeps so much data, it's ridiculous. You can also get high quality data sets from various social networks, Twitter, for example, Facebook, for example, and you saw Amazon, not a social network, but you can get all sorts of interesting data that you can mine, especially if you're a data science major or minor. Okay. So are there any questions about the project? Any questions about Zybooks? Vincent, take it away.
So I have a question for, hang on, let me get to it. Oh, for 8.1, 8.1 point, 8.1.2 modify a list.
Okay. Okay, so modify short names by deleting the first element and changing the last element to Joe.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anybody help me here? So let's see, what's it? User input is input, short names. Ah, okay, I see. So they're going to give you input in the form of a single string. That string, which is called user input, is going to be split into a list. It's going to use sample output with input Gertrude, Sam, Anne, and Joseph. Okay, so
Interesting.
it's going to remove Gertrude, keep Sam, keep Anne, and then change Joe to Joseph. Okay, so we want to remove the first one. So short names dot. Now I just don't remember. Is it delete? Is it erase? Let's take a look. Anybody know? That seems to look. The statement del delete something from the list. All right. So we'll del. I'm just going by what's here in the book. Short names sub-0. Okay. Now, if that, given this input, this would have been 0, 1, 2, 3. So would this be the right thing to do? I don't think so, but you tell me. Short names 3 equals Joseph. What do you think? Think that's going to work?
That output an error.
That would output an error. Why would it output an error?
Because you're deleting the first entry, the length of the list becomes 3 entries long, and if you use 3 as an index, that'd be outside of the length.
Excellent. That is exactly right. Okay, so the list assignment index out of range. All right. Okay. So what was said is correct. The length is now shorter than what it was. So shorter by 1. So let's do that. All right. So what is the problem here? Change it to Joe. Sorry, I didn't read. Let's run that again.
We all have those moments. It's okay.
Yep. Okay. So I'm not, while these tests all passed, I'm not happy with it. Because one is we didn't test to make sure that the indices that we refer to are actually present. So let's put in some error checking. So if the length of short names is greater than 0, can I do that? Then delete the first one. So any data, folks, any data you get from a user should be checked because users are notoriously evil. Okay? Users always find a way to break your code. So it's your job as a responsible coder to try to prevent the users from breaking your code. It's better to put out an error message than it is to crash. Okay? Andy Warhol is a famous artist. Anybody ever heard of Andy Warhol?
Vaguely.
Yeah.
Okay. And he said something like a quote, I paraphrase a quote. He said that death is the most embarrassing thing of all because somebody has to go through your things. So the way I'm applying that to this conversation is you don't want to crash, right? You don't want to just crash. You'd rather detect the error, possibly by checking into vetting the user input. You want to the programmer, you want to find the error, not the user. Okay, a crash is the most embarrassing thing. Noah, go ahead. You have a question, or you heard of Andy Warhol?
I raised my hand. Yeah, I forgot to unclick it. My bad.
Okay, so let me take this a little step further here. So else. Okay, so that would be a lot nicer than simply crashing. So this would come up here. Now, who can suggest a better way to do this? What's the problem here?
The list might not be that exact length. So if you put index -1 instead of 2.
Yeah, good idea. Good idea. Yeah. Index -1. That means the last one. And no matter what the length may have been 200. And the way I had it coded, it would still have changed number 2, index 2. But the spec says the last element. So the way this is coded now, thank you, Mary. I think there was Mary. Mary, was that correct? It was you?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Mary. This will work no matter how many entries are there in the list. So let's run this again. And it should say all tests passed, because they're not testing the conditions that I was talking about. Okay. How'd you do, Vincent? Should we go on to the next one?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have a next one? I assume you do.
So the next one is, let's see. Oh, number 3 of 8.1.1, enter the output for the list.
8.1.1, number 3. Oh, just above here.
Yes, precisely. Mhm.
This one. Okay,
Yeah,
enter the output for the list. Type the
Yeah.
program's output. So
Yeah, I
the
got-
user, right, so user values equals a list of 1, 6, and 9, and they wanted you to print it the way Python would print it. So
Yeah, I got stuck on number 3, actually,
What?
not 1.
Okay, so I'm gonna say bracket 1, 5, 9, close bracket, check. Oh, all right. Silly program. How do I get in there again?
Uh,
Do you have
The
to say
next,
reset or something?
you click next and then it resets. It gives you one more chance, I think,
Okay, good.
for
All right.
this circumstance,
All right.
and
check.
only this circumstance only.
All right. So next, the user values 1, 6, and 8. User values sub 2 is incremented by 1. All right. So bracket 1, 6, 9, and a new line. Good. Next. All right, 2, 6, 8. User value sub 0 is incremented by 1. User values 2 is incremented by 2. Okay, so that would be 3, 6, 10, new line. Okay, that was the one you had a question on, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this statement here, user values 0 is on both sides. So user value 0 plus 1 is put back into user value 0, and so on. Let's just move on. User values 2 gets the same value as user values 1. So 1, 6 comma 6, close it, and a new line. And finally, the last one. User values 1 gets the value of 0, and 0 gets the value of 2. It's sort of like the shell game here. Okay, so user values 0 is getting the 9. 1 is getting the previous value. User values 1 is getting the previous values of 0. And it should be 919. Okay. Okay. Does anybody have any other questions? Okay, then I am going to go back to P4. This is not the right link. Let me go here, go to here, go to here, and grab this line. Let's play with this line. And new share and code. Okay. So make believe I've just read some data into a list called dimensions. So I'll simulate that equals a list. And here is the first string, because the numbers are read in as strings. And there is the second string. And I got to correct the spelling. Good. And let's print the board. Let's take a look at what it looks like all together. Okay, so this is really interesting. You can see that it is there's 2 brackets in a row here. So that says list within a list. So the outer list is a list of lists. It contains several inner lists. So I have 5 as the outer. So that would be like 5 lines. And I have a 3 for the inner. So notice each of the inner, that's like the columns. Each of the inner lists has 3 spaces. So how about we then say board 2, 1 is equal to X. Where do you think that's going to be? You think it's going to be here? Just say no. You think it's going to be here? Getting no reactions. Okay, then let's just take a look. So 2 for the outer list. So 0, 1, 2. and 1 for the inner list. So 0, 1. So this is just like the bingo board. Does anybody have any questions? Okay, I'm going to go out on a limb here. I'm going to make this a 5 by 5. And instead of a single character, I'm going to make it a dictionary with value :0 and called false. Let's see. So anybody, let's see. That's how you make a dictionary, isn't it?
I believe so.
All right, so let's see. Oh, yeah, duh. Okay, let's do that. And this is no longer going to work, and so I'll take that out just for now. Now look at that. There's the bingo board created using list comprehension. And now 2 and 1 more called equals true. And somewhere in there, okay, there it is. Okay. So Python is a really cool language. It has grown continuously since Guido van Susteren, no, I don't remember Guido's last name, but the inventor of Python. And Python, by the way, started out as just a hobby project for Guido, and it just blossomed. So it's grown and grown and grown. List comprehension is a really cool, although it's a little complicated to get. And no matter what it is that you want to do, there's a package already written for Python that does it. Okay, so one last chance. Are there any questions about the project or Zybooks?
Okay, so this is a weird question, but how do you get the terminal up without pushing the triangle button?
Okay, so that would be, are you on Windows?
Yeah,
Control J.
okay, thank you.
So I'm using Command J on the Mac. Now, if you don't get the right thing, it's one, you notice these choices here: problems, output, terminal, and debug. So you can, it's possible that you might have killed the terminal. You can then just get it back.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. And you can also have more terminals than just one. So I'm going to create a second one. So now I have one terminal which has this, and another terminal. I typed that in just so you can see that the two terminals are separate. Now on Windows, you'll either get the PowerShell or the normal DOS prompt. On the Mac, you get an actual terminal. All right, everybody, we'll call it a day then. As soon as the video is ready, I'll put it up online.
All right.
Okay, thank you for coming.
All right. Have a good day, Professor.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
we'll be here all week. Tell your friends.
For sure.
Yep.
Have a good day, sir.
Bye-bye.
Hey, Professor.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, excuse me. So I have all the code you just typed out, and it's giving me like an error saying I have one too many brackets.
Okay, can you show me your screen?
Yes, I can. Gotta make sure it's the right one.
Yeah, don't show me something you don't want to show me.
Well, I just have data up.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay. Okay.
and then if I remove that bracket, it puts 4 and it creates it states that after that the board and then the second board become a variable, but
Yeah.
the 4 and the board become errors.
Okay, so remove one of those brackets, please. And now. Okay, so remove the final bracket. And move line 7 onto the rear of line 6. And remove the colon and put in the bracket. Okay, there you go. So you didn't have exactly what I had.
Okay, for me, it was showing that you had it below in a separate thing.
Yeah, yeah. Yes. So if you back up your cursor to the second 4, so and almost there, stop a little bit more, 2 more, and hit enter. And tab, that should still be okay. So that's kind of like what I had.
Oh, okay. Okay, I get it now.
Right.
Gotcha.
Okie dokie.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
So for the I know I already submitted my bingo project, but I ran into an issue for some reason. So I have all my data, but the one thing that was limiting me was the it was a function that you gave us. It was board 22 called equals true.
Mm-hmm.
That was like setting it off as like
that
a.
would be a single equals.
I tried that and that didn't work.
You go ahead and try it. All right, and line 24. All right, so what have we got here? So board is an empty list. Oh yeah, now I remember your code, Joe.
Yeah.
So your problem is line 12 and 13.
12 and 13.
Yeah, so delete 12. And now read out loud line 12.
Does it need to be column?
Right,
Or,
so are you returning a column or a column number?
column. Yeah.
So delete underscore number.
And then do I do that for the call in the def column, create column number?
Nope, nope. Now
Okay.
try it, save it and try it again. Okay, this is progress. We got a different error.
Yeah.
Okay, so line 100.
Oh, this was just me messing with
messing around. Okay.
with trying to create like a ball random sample range and then picking the balls.
Good.
But I was trying to get what's it called, variables to work together outside of the defining. So yeah,
Okay.
that true was really setting me off.